All right, Beaver fans, you're looking at it. Oregon State opening up the 2020 football season against the two new head coaches in the league. They host Nick Rolovich and the Cougs November 7th, and then headed to Seattle to see Jimmy Lake and the Huskies. Rivalry game against the Ducks set for the day after Thanksgiving in Corvallis. And a tough job for their divisional crossover. They have to go to Salt Lake City to take on the Utes in December, no less. Jonathan Smith, entering his third season as head coach of the Beavs, with us now to give us a preview of what we can expect. And Coach, I just want to start with, it's been a roller coaster the last several months. Can you just fill us in on where you and your team are at right now in this moment, a schedule in front of you, camp about to start? Sounds like you just got off the field. That's all good news.
Yeah, I think we're in a good place. A bunch of optimism now that, we got a plan in place, a schedule in place, a bunch of excitement out of these players. They're just anxious to get really going, and got training camp starting Friday to get truly practicing. We've had a bunch of guys around in the summer and working and preparing, so I know they're totally ready to go. And you're right, it's been a roller coaster the last few months, and so we're headed to the end of the thing where it's the good part of it.
You guys have been able to have these organized team activities, 12 hours per week now per the NCAA. Have you gotten able to know your team in a different way because of course, COVID-19, anti-racism, and then even some of these workouts that you're unaccustomed to?
Yeah, it's been definitely a different environment. All of us have been experiencing with the 12 hours. I do think that we've been able, especially our younger guys around them, and teach more detail than maybe a normal summer. I get a bunch of just respect to the leadership on this team, because we've had some great conversations over Zoom on the topics that you mentioned in regards to all the social justice topics that's going on in our country. And so I think we've grown closer, and guys have been able to tell their stories and what they've experienced. And each of us have had the opportunity to really listen and learn about the guy next to us. And so I think it's brought our team closer.
Jonathan, I want to get into some of the actual, personnel on your team, but just talking about what you've had to navigate and all the stuff going on in the world. Global pandemic, a month out from an election, it's hard for any of us, even the adults in the room, to focus with all the noise, just because everything feels so heavy. So with that said, I know you talked about, making space for these conversations with the young men on your team around all of the issues, but what has it been like for you to try to lead them through it? What have you tried to do as the head coach of this program?
Yeah, it's as you try to create a safe space where people can communicate, not try to say I got all the answers, because I don't know if anybody does. I think that when you say opinions and experiences count and they mean something, and everyone has individual experiences that are different, but everyone's got opportunity to voice those and be heard. And I tried to create that as a leader, and I think along with our coaching staff, of mentoring these 18 to 22-year-olds, and letting them know that we're here to support them, and letting them know that if they need some help, especially on the mental health end. That's another topic that's been really important to us as we've gone along, and guys have been dealing with it. And so just creating a space where everyone feels supported and we're here for each other.
You've seen so many different football environments in your careers, right? And this has been a rebuild. Last year, you guys had so many painful losses that I know just gutted you, let alone those watching it. What is the one, if there is one thing that you need your team to develop during this proverbial training camp, so those tight losses become tight wins?
Yeah, I think that the ability to finish and recognize that, throughout the game, oftentimes these games come down to 4 or 6 plays. Could be in the first quarter, obviously could be in the fourth quarter, but striving to continue to improve from quarter 1 to quarter 4, and really from game 1 to game 6 or 7 now with this season. I think if we focus on that, improving and seizing the moment on these 4 to 6 plays, it'll change the game. We will get over that hump.
Like a lot of Pac-12 coaches, you'll be naming a new starting quarterback, Tristan Gebbia. We saw some of what he had to offer last year. Can you give us just some insight around him, what that position group as a whole is looking like right now as we sit here a month from the opener?
Yeah, I think Tristan definitely took advantage of last season, prepared like a starter week in and week out, and really feels comfortable with the scheme going into this fall camp. Because of that experience, he came out of our minimal spring practice we had as a leader in the clubhouse, but we're all about opportunity and competition, and we'll do that in fall camp as well. Brought in a couple of quarterbacks, Ben Goldbridson and Chance Nolan, and those guys will get the opportunity in spring ball fall camp to compete along with Nick Moore. Nick Moore's been here a couple of years. His brother played for the Bees, and we've been in the NFL for a while. And so the four of them will compete at it through a couple of weeks. We'll probably narrow it at that point and make a decision when we're ready to make a decision.
I think anybody who watches you guys play, an easy decision is to say, yep, Jamar Jefferson is one of the best players in the country. I read an article last week how he's transformed his body. Have you noticed something different with his body, let alone his psyche, entering a year where he is draft eligible?
Yeah, he looks good. He's worked hard at it, and because he had the monster freshman year, his first year, and then last year dealt with some injuries, and that I think added to his motivation to get into great shape so he can carry the load, and he can be a really a special player. I think we want to continue to feature him other than just handing him the ball. He caught the ball a few times last year. I think we're going to add to that. But then we got a running back room with some other guys. BJ Baylor being another guy coming back, had some huge carries for us last year. Going to count on him in a big way now that AP is gone. So you always want to have more than one. But we're looking forward to watching Jamar now that he's in this great shape.
I know another guy that Bees fans are excited to see back on the field is Hamaka Rashid. He led the Pac-12 with 22 and a half tackles for a loss last year and was just an absolute machine. Your linebacking core in general, I mean, it took some major steps last year. What have you seen and what do you hope to see the next iteration of your defense in 2020?
Yeah, I'm with you in regards to the strides that we made last year, and we got to continue that. There's a group that I'm confident about coming back is our linebacker crew, because we got a lot of experience there, starting with Ham with the unbelievable year he had. Really impressed with him going through the process on deciding to come back or not. Took his time, got all his information, and felt like he had more to show on tape. We're anxious to see it. But Avery Roberts comes back, inside backer, led our team in tackles. Omar Spates, true freshman last year, did a lot of great things. So we've got some real depth there. And counting on our defense making another huge step in year 3.
I want to double down on Hamaka Rashid Jr. He's clearly one of the most productive players in the country, and we've seen a lot of productive players opt out for the draft in shortened seasons. Why is he, if he has communicated to you a desire to stay when he knows he's going to be a draft pick when he chooses to make that call?
Yeah. I think there's a few things with my conversations with him. One, he thinks he can play better and change his body a little bit, added some weight, which he's done, and he wants to play at that weight and show that off on tape. I think he really enjoys it here and playing with his teammates and wanted to do that again. And so this was another scenario, waiting for a schedule to come out and kind of see exactly what this entailed. He took his time, sees that this schedule is planned to play out well for an NFL prospect. It's going to finish the end of December. And then he's got plenty of time if he wants to go train and get ready for the league. So went through the process and felt like the best decision for him is to play.
And Hammock, obviously a household name for anyone who follows the Pac-12. I know Oregon State fans listening to and watching this interview are going to want some insight, though, from you, Coach, on maybe one or two guys that we don't quite know about yet that we will be talking about when all is said and done at the end of this season. So anybody you're willing to single out and say, hey, pay attention to these guys?
Yeah, it's a little tough getting before training camp starts. We're definitely excited about a few of our newcomers. Zariah Beeson's a receiver from Texas that had 4 days of practice with us in the spring and showed some great things. Wouldn't be shocked for him to play as a true freshman. Alton Julian at safety, 3-year player at the junior college. We're excited to add to that depth that we needed to in the secondary. And those two guys stand out, but you hit me up in a couple of weeks after a few more practices, I'll let you know some more.
Fair enough.
Coach, you've always said one of my favorite quotes, which is, we do common things in uncommon ways. I think you've built and rebuilt this program up doing that. Where do you think you are right now with this team and how you built it, what the culture is, how you've added it creatively with so many players that will be hopefully productive for you in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, we feel like we're in a great place, especially after compared to year 1 to year 2, building on that. I think we've added depth. I think we're more talented. I think we're more physical and stronger. I think we've got some skill at the skill positions that we haven't had in regards to speed and explosiveness. I think we're in a good place in regards to our coaching and continuity. We've, again, 10 of 10 assistant coaches back from last year. And really, we went 9 of 10 after year 1 to year 2. So a majority of this staff has been together now in going into our third year. So I think all of that benefits us, and going back to feeling like we're in a great place to be able to really compete and win a bunch of games.
Coach, last thing for me, I think the thing obviously on the forefront of everyone's mind right now is not just how you can navigate the football season, but how you can navigate everything that comes with trying to play in a global pandemic. It just came out earlier today that Kevin Sumlin, the head coach at Arizona, has tested positive for COVID-19. Just curious, what was your reaction when you found out that news, and have you had a chance to reach out to him?
I was disappointed for him, getting close to a season now and then having to come up with that. I know he'll bounce back. He's one of my favorites in this league. He's been a blast on these Zoom meetings, all these head coaches calls we've had every week. Just a bunch of fun, good football coach. And so our thoughts are with him during this time. And I know he'll be back strong as ever.
All right. Appreciate that, Coach, and appreciate your time today. November 7th at Research Stadium against the Cougs. Can't wait to watch. Best of luck with everything moving forward, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.